in 2017 was like no other.
I think about all the times in war zones where I've been shot at or rocketed. This was by far, though, the scariest night of my life.
At the time, Polymeropoulos, the CIA's #2 official for clandestine operations throughout Europe, says he woke up suddenly in the middle of the night with a sense of vertigo.
I was falling over in my room. I thought I was going to vomit. I was incredibly nauseous. I had this incredible ringing in my ears, and I knew something was really wrong with me.
The episode just the start of debilitating symptoms that upended his life. He says, similar to scores of other cases reported by American diplomats and spies that began in 2016 in Havana, then hit American officials in China, and have since been reported by CIA officers in several other countries. What could be the cause? After a year-long investigation, 19 top experts from the National Academies of Sciences conclude the most likely explanation: directed pulse microwave energy, consistent with a directed radio frequency energy attack.
This is not a cell phone. This is not what you see from a microwave oven. This is a very particular and unusual way of delivering microwave energy.
Stanford professor of medicine David Relman chaired the study.
We have neurologists on our committee that said afterwards, in my entire career of reading about countless hundreds and thousands of cases of neurologic injury, I've never heard of something like this.
This is really unique in the medical literature.
It is.
New Hampshire Senator Jean Shaheen has been fighting for medical benefits for the victims.
I fear that what we have seen to date is not going to end. We're going to see more of these kinds of attacks in the future, and we need to be prepared for them.
And what countries have developed this kind of technology in the past?
Well, we know Russia has it.
Russia has denied any involvement in the incidents. The State Department kept the report secret for months, even from Congress, until a bipartisan group of senators demanded to see it. A State Department spokesperson says the investigation is ongoing and each possible cause remains speculative. Not to mark Polymeropoulos, suffering from debilitating migraines for the last 3 years. And why would the Russians want to target you?
I was in charge, or one of several officers in charge of overseeing our efforts against them.
Reluctantly, after 26 years in the CIA, he resigned last year at the age of 50.
We have to find out who did this. And so I'd like to see kind of a robust investigation by our intelligence services and others to see, who was culpable. It's certainly, the Russians are probably the prime suspect, but we can't allow anybody who's doing this to continue on.
Andrea, this is so shocking and disturbing. I remember when those mysterious attacks first surfaced. Have there been any more suspected incidents since that study began?
In fact, Savannah, there have been at least 5 new cases that we know of. Cases like Mark's involving CIA officers have been reported in the last year or so, and these were in various different places: East Asia, Poland, London. And a source with direct knowledge is telling NBC News about this, and also says that the CIA, using mobile phone location data, determined that Russian agents who had worked on microwave weapons were also in those same cities at the same time. This is not conclusive, it's just a lead. CIA telling NBC News that if there were credible intelligence that an adversary were harming an officer, the CIA Director Hasbro would act swiftly. Mark, by the way, has now been accepted. CIA has apparently arranged this for treatment at Walter Reed, something he really wants to start next month.
They're quick to try to blame Russia. Russia did this. It's not Russia. It's all governments. I promise you, the CIA know exactly what's going on. We know that they're the most corrupt alphabet agency on the planet. On the planet. So many, notice that they're dismissing the citizens, so they don't take our claims for it, even though a lot of us could report the exact same symptoms. There's no way for an American citizen, an average citizen who's not a government official, to seek any type of help, medical testing, medical help, anything of the sort. They don't want the American people to know that this is a growing threat and that they're more than likely are the culprits who's responsible for this. I promise you, it's our very own government who's doing this. Like I said, since I've been getting hit with them, targeted with them. All the people I see participate in it haven't spotted, heard, seen, smelled, able to even touch one Russian yet. I promise you, it's definitely not the Russians. It's definitely not the Russians. If that was the case, why aren't the United States mentioning all the citizens who's been calling these alphabet agencies reporting the attacks on them? Why is it that when we say that we're going through the exact same thing, suffering from the exact same symptoms, that we're deemed mentally ill? That's the prime, that's showing you that it's a cover up at the highest level. So, so the average citizen word is incredible because we're not a government official. I just don't understand this because I know so many people who say that they're suffering from this, and all of our stories is the same. All of the symptoms are the same, and can't none of us get help from anybody. And y'all notice that I've been going back and forth to the hospital, to doctor's visits. I spoke on this a couple of times. The first thing they tried to do was make it seem like I was mentally ill. And that's another thing. I'm going to go and get a psychiatric evaluation on my own, and I'm going to tape the whole thing. In fact, I'm going to go live and have the phone in my pocket. I'm going to wear like a dress shirt so I can have the phone in my breast pocket where the camera is pointed directly at the psychiatrist. I promise you, I'm not going to sit up here and just go like this and be denied or silenced into not talking about what's going on with me. I'm gonna tell my story. I'm gonna give my testimony for sure. There's nothing they could say to convince me otherwise. I'd be a fool not to talk about what's going on with me.